you catch that line, a business trip to Napa? I'm not sure about that. It's a little daunting to be in front of Ohio's smartest, most successful business people, members of the military, elected officials. It reminds me of a story of two Civil War generals standing out looking over a battlefield for fire. One of the generals looks over the field and calls down to his lieutenant, "Lieutenant, bring me up my red vest." The lieutenant goes down and gets it. The general puts the red vest on. The other general looks at him, kind of perplexed, and says, "What's up with the red vest?" The general says, "Well, when we go into battle, if I am shot and I bleed, our soldiers will not see this, and they'll be courageous and inspired to go on to victory." The other general thought about this, had an idea, leans down to his lieutenant, says, "Lieutenant, bring me up my brown pants." Yes, it is. My talk today is really about how I found my way through an eclectic career of multiple industries, with seemingly ever-changing ambitions, and how I ended up in Napa Valley as a vineyard, a winemaker, as well as taking on an equestrian sport, kind of on the extreme side, called endurance horse racing, which I'll talk about. Over the years, I've had some wonderful accomplishments, some of which were highlighted in Steve's comments. But to be honest with you, as I think most of us all know, to be successful, you went through some soft patches, and maybe just downright failed at times. During my talk, I'm going to give you a little bit of a chronological view of my path, some insights, some stories that were really kind of operative in the decisions I made in my business and my life, and that were certainly pivotal to my career. I would be candid to tell you right now that my talk actually should be more appropriately named, "Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good." Believe me, I'm all for luck. I'm a strong believer in that, but I'm going to address this a little bit later, about how to be good to being lucky. What I hope that you can take away today is some insights about how I weave my way through what is perceived as one of the most fast-paced, ultra-competitive, somewhat maniacal high-tech business called the Silicon Valley or tech business, to the ever-slow but seemingly romantic wine business. And in hearing this, you may realize some notions of things you may want to do different, or maybe be inspired to do even more. But one evening, down in, I lived in Silicon Valley at the time I was living in a casino, I went to a party one night, and a bunch of young guys hanging around doing this, doing that, doing what we do at parties, and I ran into a group of 3 or 4 people. And sure enough, they had, in my talking to them, had taken their company public about a year before that. I had heard of this company, and we just started talking about it, and I got into an engagement with the CEO of the company. That engagement quickly turned south, because they were describing a computer that was about this big. And all I know that you did on that computer was play a phone. And yet I'm thinking big, big computing. Well, we got into kind of a little bit of an argument. For the most part, we left kind of on not great terms. I'll let you know that 2 days later, I got a call, and Steve Jobs would like me to interview with Apple Computer. And in fact, that was Steve I was engaged with. For me, that was an uncomfortable engagement. For him, I had realized this was a way of life. That is what he did and how he did it. But it did give me an opportunity to interview with the company, and I thought, oh, what the hell, I'll go work for a toy company for a while. Let's see what that's about. My big break at Apple, quite honestly, was about a year and a half into it. I got assigned to do a project. Now think about this in your business. We're mostly in the selling side of stuff. I was given the project of giving away 10,000 computers to every school in the state of California. Imagine that. Steve and the accounting team have done a great job of getting this tax break for the company. The idea was to make a big mark into a specific marketplace with the Apple II. So that was my job, and I got some pretty high exposure with that. One of the things that happened in that position, and maybe it's one of the most pivotal points of my life, is I got to see, in fact, what this little Pong-like computer could do to change people's lives. I saw what it did to educators, and certainly I saw what it did to children.